Welcome to a podcast capturing the antics of two geeks who talk about video game culture and influence, both old and new, all through chaotic banter and tangential tangents that make no sense. My name is Mask.
This food moment brought to you by Tostino or Chipotle.
This is my pal Red.
That sauce is supposed to be oyster flavored? Sure, why not?
And together we make the Reddmasq Podcast. This is episode 19.
Alright. What is our next fucking thing in the notes? What is
do you
it we're
want to
doing?
do some talking because I was talking a lot, but you were talking a lot, or I can just fucking go off the rails?
Well, I can talk about playing Mario Tennis Game Boy Color, I guess.
I can also talk about the time I lined up 4 screens in front of me.
Yeah, the full map platform.
Yeah, full screen Super Mario Brothers. I got a new monitor this week. It's great.
Well, no, you weren't doing. No. You were doing the.
Oh,
the
I was
Link's
doing both.
Awakening
Here, I gotta show you. You didn't see this one, I bet.
The Link's Awakening, which, by the way, the person who made that Link's Awakening see the whole map at one time thing. Oh, that's why you linked that to me. You stupid son of a bitch.
Now you see why I did that. Yeah, I got a new monitor this week. It does 2K, 1440p. It is beautiful, and I had too many monitors. I hooked them all up to my graphics card at once, and full screen Mario.
Nice guilty
Oh
gear
yeah,
poster.
I got a bunch of Wii posters from like back in the day, and they're all still great looking. I've got like a Sonic and the Black Knight poster too.
I have a question. I have a question about full screen Mario here. Does it still scroll if you get to like the midway point?
No, there's no scrolling at all.
Oh, god damn! So it has a thing.
You are following Mario
that.
across the screen through all of your monitors or setups here, however you have it configured. Projectors, I don't even know.
The Link's Awakening. Did we ever talk about that that like fan made
I feel like
HD
we
thing where
did one of our
more
episodes
the
like
map?
early on, like episode 3 or 4 or something.
And they released it in the best way possible, which is when you're working with someone else's copyrighted work and they're going to take
Because you
it
know
down.
they're just gonna do it. They just
You
put it up and run.
you release it once it's all done, and then you don't attach it to anything related to you. You just put it up anonymously.
Yep.
Dip. It is now the world's. No one can stop it now. No one can stop you.
No one
you
can stop
won.
you, Mr. Domino.
That's the fuck that game. That I've never played it, but I've watched it.
It's actually a great watch. I do remember watching it at a couple of GDQs.
I feel like I watched it at GDQ and it was like they still game over
It's a
it
hard
couple
game.
times because it's so it's so precise. Like that precision is expected to just beat the game.
I thought I was supposed to be going off topic a lot this week, not you. Anyway.
Anyways, welcome to the ADHD podcast where there are nothing.
No,
but
we're not sponsored by
All
ADHD, the Adult Swim animators. Unfortunately, I wish we were. Oh wait, no, I don't. Fuck Slav.
All right, so all right,
I can also I'm starting to lose my energy for this. I'm gonna
Hey, Mask, are you okay?
bust a wolf. Yeah, I can hype myself up just to get through this new Fatal Fury game they're talking about. That's for sure, because this thing looks so fucking modern, so fucking exciting. Oh my god, I want to get my hands on this.
You're welcome for that segue.
You're welcome. God, like, you only have, like, a little bit of gameplay that's being shown off so far, but, like, there's so many hidden mechanics there. The stance mechanic is back, where you just cancel your move out of a stance and then just go into another one, and everyone has it. It's not just, like, a few character locked. In Garou, you can only do that with, like, Terry and, like, a few other characters, and it's, like, kind of an arcade glitch in a way. Yeah?
I'm gonna bring that back up. Hang on. Garou?
Mark of the Wolves.
Garou.
Fuck you! Call it what I want!
No.
I'm gonna go throw you.
It is Garou. That is Garou. Not Garou. No, it's not like a Digimon. It's not Garurumon.
I think the R accent is showing up here.
Garou.
Garou.
Garou, Mark out of the Wolves. Sorry, my little bit of Japanese, I've learned mostly just the pronunciation.
Okay, well, you're more correct than me. What do you want?
That's all I wanted,
Okay.
actually, to
Yeah.
be a bitch.
You have your parry mechanic. I don't know if they have, like, the max mechanic back. I sure hope they do.
You have the third. You said the third of your health that you want to be in
Yes.
max mode.
I hope they bring that back. I'm not sure, but they do have a max mode that is very stylish, and you can actually pull off some KOF-style combos. Yeah, and, like, the supers are look beautiful. They have this whole animated style to them. God, why can't I fucking play this game now? All of these companies just tease fighting games way too early. Like, please let your players get their hands on something with this, just to kind of sink their teeth into the mechanics. I mean, that's what I kind of get most out of my games, but especially with fighters, it's just like, I want to get my hands on this stuff. The story can wait. Everything else can wait. Let me just, I will just play a game where it's Terry versus Terry, and I will just enjoy the shit out of that. Like, please. I even played the Smash 4 demo on 3DS when that came out, and it had like 5 characters. I played that for like 30 hours. There was nothing wrong with me. I'm a fighting game enthusiast. Please, give me something.
Speaking of, fighting games being announced too early, how about those Darkstalkers?
Oh, they're not dead? Totally not dead.
Not dead, I think. Not dead. I think they're dead now. Something happened.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that's. Well, where more SNK is funded nowadays, I don't have much confidence that won't happen again. But we'll see.
All right, I'm gonna mention that I have finally beaten the story of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I mean, there's really good cooking in that game.
Yeah, there is.
All the food looks delicious. There's going to be spoilers here because I'm going to talk about the final bosses, basically. You have 2 final bosses, effectively. You have 2 parties. One is in Hawaii, the other is in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So, Japan's party is Kiryu's party. So whenever you're in Japan, Kiryu is in charge. And this goes into the post-game as well. And whenever you're in Hawaii, Kasuga is in charge. So Kasuga's final boss is Bryce Fairchild, the ruler of the fucking Polycana cult.
Oh God.
Which is actually it was not always a cult. It was a fucking religious organization that he murdered his way into owning because he was originally a mob boss and he's your bog standard megalomaniac. He is royally fucked up to the point that I'm surprised we managed to find a way to force him to not die, which is basically just like, yeah, you're coming under arrest and we're going to make you live out your punishment, which is like, yeah, that makes sense. Because this man otherwise would be fucking dead. And I'm sure once his crimes come out, whatever prison he's in, the prisoners are probably just gonna fucking kill him.
I sure hope not.
Well, listen, when I explain his crimes, like the crime that's like the most disturbing is his child soldiers.
Right.
He brainwashes and grooms children into being his basically slaves. Right? It's fucked up.
Extremely.
You get to watch him have some kids with pistols do a fucking firing squad execution.
What the fuck?
It is fucked up. It is
very
fucked up. And if that, and I think like crimes that involve children are like the ones that like are the most likely to get a prisoner killed in.
I only studied law a little, but I would not study this is that side of that. So
this is not law. This is not so much law. This is how like prisons work, like how the inner workings of the society of a prison.
Okay, no, that's not the sentence you're talking about. You're talking about actually, he's going to prison. He's going to be interacting with other people in said prison.
They are not going to be very kind to him. Exactly.
Very much no.
That's what I'm
very
talking about.
But good. Okay.
The prisoners are not going to be happy with him.
Right.
Because after a certain point, even the dark side of the world will not want you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how it goes sometimes. Okay, so that's his boss battle, which is filled with just mostly going up against his goons because he's just a shitty cult leader, and he needs to be made clear to be even more of a piece of shit because it's like you get to him, you find out that the nuclear waste dump is just a fucking hole that he is mostly just using to get global power. Because he's a box standard megalomaniac, and he's just that fucking do anything it takes to keep his power, regardless of what he does. So, you get to him, and the final boss goes like within a couple waves. Well, first, Okay, there's two mini bosses I have to talk about. The first is before you even get to the island, you fight a goddamn shark.
A goddamn shark. I
Giant
wasn't there for
fucking.
that part. I
You
was there for
fight.
the daddy issues, but I wasn't there for the shark.
You got to see me fight the Japanese final boss. The Hawaii's final boss is the dungeon is like you first fight a shark on a boat to get to the island. Then you're like going through the island, which is like a dungeon with a couple of scripted fights, and you have to dodge landmines. And the landmines only do like 100 damage, which is really funny. But the second mini boss of the dungeon is a giant squid. You just with a giant squid with two tentacles you have to fight as well. It's very funny, this game. But after you get past that absurdity, you go up against the cult leader himself. The first wave is against his subjects. First two waves are against his subjects. The first wave is against like some melees, and you take them out, and then a cutscene plays where his cult members with submachine guns come in and gun down the people who you just beat, because this again enforcing power through making them kill each other. Again, really fucked up. Then you take out those guys, and one of them crawls over to Bryce saying that they need his guidance, and he just guns them down in cold blood, and then you face him. He is a final boss. He's got a lot of health. He's got some moves. I am over-leveled, and I have a laser.
Because you've done all of the content and side quests that you possibly could get your hands on.
Exactly. And I didn't even use everything, because I don't really... Because the summoning system uses a lot of money, which is why I don't use it all that much. But it is also very strong, because like the first level of summons, basically you summon them onto the battlefield, and they act as like a support, and it takes up your turn, and they're okay. They're not the best. The second and third levels are just like a summoning attack, where it's like, oh, you summon them, it doesn't take your turn, and they do something. Usually damage with some added effects if something doesn't die. I don't really touch that because that shit is expensive, and it's not worth it half the time.
You're telling me how some of the endgame attacks actually overall were really expensive and not worth your time. Like they gave up on the balance, like at that point.
Well, the actual bad balance came from the previous.
Right, that
game.
was horribly balanced, but they fixed it.
Yeah, something I always have it. Going a little side tangent here. Something I always have issues with in all kinds of video games, especially RPGs, is that the way the balancing works and the way the stats works are often so obfuscated that I can't fucking tell what I'm doing. Like, I'll see, like, oh, you gain 100 more magic attack if you equip this. Great. What does that mean, though? Because, to give an example of the video I watched when it comes to this game, Infinite Wealth, which is better balanced than the previous game and better, like, once I know how it works, it's understandable. Like, defense. That is a flat reduction to damage. So it's like if you have double defense, you're not taking half damage. You are taking that much. You're like if double defense means you gain 400 defense, that's 200 less damage you're taking, not half damage.
You know, I'm going to go on a tangent on
that's
the
kind of thing I'm talking about.
Because more games like yours, especially Yakuza, as coming from beat 'em up series, you'd think they'd have a training mode, even for the RPG mechanics. You know what has a training mode? Project Cross Zone 2.
That's just to fucking get the timings down of the attacks.
Well, not just that, but even to test your gear and stuff, I would imagine. And you can tweak it to your heart's content, too.
Yeah, it's basically you get to test how well your build works almost.
So I think
that's
definitely what Like the Dragon's going to be needing going forward, I would imagine.
This episode is brought to you by us. We work hard in making an exciting show each week, chaos included. Check out the links in the show notes for ways to help support the show. This includes our Ko-fi page, which you can find at ko-fi.com/mask31.
So that was one thing I learned from the video. Just something that's very useful. Because games will obfuscate that shit. And then you're just left having to experiment for yourself to figure it out. And I'm very bad at doing that for this kind of shit. Why I have such a hard time with like getting through the final boss of Octopath Traveler. It requires you to understand a lot more, and I don't. There's nothing that really tells you like, okay, what does it mean if I add 50 magic attack? Does that mean I do like, is it like a flat increase? Is it like it's there's too many layers of obfuscation that make it impossible to tell how these fucking stats work. But they made it a lot better in this game. they made it a lot more consistent mostly. In the previous game, one of the best skills in the game was it was Jungi Han's head trauma, which dealt like heavy damage. It said it dealt life damage. It deals like it's one of the most highest damage dealing skills in the game, and it's also the cheapest at like 6. It costs 6 MP. It's fucked. Balance in that game is hilarious, and they managed to fix this game by basically making everything like more consistent. So like a light damage attack does light damage attack. So it's like it takes your basic attack and adds a percentage to it, so on and so forth. There is some stuff that's obfuscated to the point where you have to learn the experimentation and figure it out. And that thing is that if you give a weapon, if you upgrade a weapon with the brand to like increase the damage of a specific type of attack, like a slash attack or a fire attack, that is worthless. The $5 brand gives you like 2% more damage with that attack type alone, just on its own, which is already like a bad idea. It's like, oh, I can do 2% more damage with only this kind of damage type. That sucks. The greater one, the one that costs that the one that's after that's like a 7.5% increase, which is also still exceedingly useless. You're better off getting higher crit chances or something like that. That's the kind of stuff that like pisses me off about these video games, is where you like figure out how the obfuscation works and you figure out how the stats work, and you're just like, oh cool, I was doing things in the worst possible way and I couldn't tell because the game refuses
It's like
to
you
tell
have the freedom of choice, but choice is actually an illusion.
Yeah, you have the freedom of choice, but the what the choices do are hidden from you. Like, do you choose door number 1 or door number 2? Door number 1 is a strength door. Door number 2 is a wisdom door. What do those mean? I don't
I'll take door
know.
number 3, Bob.
But thank God that I learned how that worked, and I was like, hell yes, I know how this game works a little bit better now. Anyways, now to go to the second final boss. So we beat up Bryce. We took him under arrest thanks to Adachi. He tries to kill himself to get out of his punishment, and Kasuga reacts pretty damn fast to pull him up. And he's like giving him a speech about just like, oh, he's like telling him, he's not even like telling him how much he sucks. He's just like getting really mad at him for trying to kill himself and being like, I'm not going to pull out your stanky ass corpse out of this nuclear waste. Fuck you. Get up out of here. So yeah. So we pull him up with the help of our party, and that's that. And Chitose, who was Tatara channel, the drama channel, who was actually under the gun of, like, she was basically being threatened and blackmailed to do shit that was like canceling people who
also
didn't
a scumbag move.
So we go back to Japan with Kiryu's crew after we've taken care of Bryce Fairchild. They get the news that we've taken care of Bryce, and it's like, all right, it's our turn. We're gonna go up. We're gonna go back to the goddamn Millennium Tower, do the dungeon, because that's the final dungeon as usual. So you go up. You're going through the various floors.
Wait, how many times has that been the final dungeon?
Too many. It's like almost.
That's more than one.
That's like the final boss. That's like the final dungeon of like final level of every single Yakuza game. It almost feels like. But you go up to it one more time. You're taking out all these various Yakuza goons because taking out all the various Yakuza goons, getting your way up. The other legendary Yakuza, you got Kiryu, you have, oh god, can I even remember names? Majima, Saijima, and then Daigo Dojima. They come to assist you for a fight, and it's basically that's like a fucking curb stomp fight, because the only character you have to worry about is Kiryu, because it's basically Kiryu and 3 assist party members. And the thing about assist party members is when they happen, they aren't targeted ever. It is just whoever you're controlling gets targeted. So you only have to worry about Kiryu, while the other 3 are just like fucking wrecking house on their own. Basically just one-shotting anyone they manage to get their hands on. It's hilarious. But that's really easy, and it's actually really cool because it's just so much fun. There's a part in the dungeon where you have to like dodge machine gun fire from a helicopter, and it's like a little hazard you have to go around, and there's like little goodies that entice you to risk your neck a little bit more for more loot, and I did that. It was pretty easy.
I thought there was like less cinematic Final Fantasy VII at that point. FF7R.
Yeah, and then you get to the final boss, You find out, you get to hear his real plan and how, because like you were getting hints about what his real plan was as you were playing. Like you get to hear about his backstory and how suspicious that was. You get to hear how he talks about shit and all that, and you get to see him like off his right hand man.
Yeah, he spins him around in the goddamn chair.
No, that's not his right hand man. That is Ichiban's like boss's right. That's Ichiban's boss's right hand man. He was his captain, Captain Sawashiro. Ebina fucked him up because as it turns out, Ebina has a fucking revenge, a very large vendetta against the Yakuza because he was the father of, was also a child of Ichiban's dad, but of the wife he was having an arranged marriage to, which, as you figure out from the previous game, he fucking went on to destroy that Yakuza family for forcing him into a marriage he didn't want. Like, he murdered them all in the Patriarch. So we get to figure out, like, oh, ever since then, with the mom basically being a single mother and the Yakuza basically abandoning her, the child Ebina basically grew up to have this revenge plot against the entirety of the Yakuza, and that was why he was sending them to Bryce Fairchild. Was like, that's a whole, like Bryce Fairchild wanted that island because it was a black box that he could do whatever he wanted with to maintain power, to gain and maintain power with the global elite. Ebina was using it to punish Yakuza by sending them there to deal with nuclear waste under a cult leader. He just wants to, his whole thing is that he fucking wants the Yakuza to die. He wants them to suffer. He hates them that much. And yeah, a lot of this game's themes are like typical, like, of course, power-hungry assholes are shitbags.
And
Fuck
a lot
them.
of gray areas.
The other one's like,
things aren't just black and white.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened in the previous game as well, the gray areas. But also, the homeless people deserve your goddamn respect. Respect sex workers. God damn it. Anyways, so the other thing was like, revenge is fucked up, man. Not only like it touches on like, oh, how the typical like, oh, revenge is empty. Like, you're gonna do it and you're not gonna feel good about it. The other part's like, it's gonna make you do some heinous shit. It's gonna make things worse in the long run. Like, you're gonna be doing stuff that's actively harmful to everyone. That kind of thing. And the other one is just like, find a reason for living. His Kiryu has cancer, and he was ready to just die. And a large part of his story is figuring out how he needs to find his will to live again.
That actually resonates with me as well a little bit because, like, well, everyone will at some point know a cancer survivor in their life, or someone who's currently fighting a situation like that, and just getting the strength to just pick up your friends and just carry on through it. Just have your head up, keep you strong about it. That's motivating. It's inspiring. It's empowering, in fact.
So you do the final boss, and it's just the guy. It's just him, but he's like really. He takes off his shirt, revealing a goddamn Oni tattoo. He has a full-on back Yakuza tattoo of his own. God damn. As always, you fight both boss battles with the Yakuza members taking off their shirts. As always. So Ichiban takes off his shirt against Bryce, who doesn't even take his off because he's just a fucking lousy cult leader. And then Ebina and Kiryu take off their own shirts. Fight the fight. It's so cool.
You just went like beat 'em up mode like immediately after doing that, just for the effect of it. Classic Yakuza beat 'em up mode.
The fucking Kiryu's hype mode where you activate it and you go into a beat 'em up mode where it's the beat 'em up mode, but only you get to beat the shit out of people.
But it was very on key for the fight there.
It is his limit break, for lack of a better word. Actually, that's literally what the hype meter is. It's your limit breaks. But you do that, and it's like really fun. That becomes a mechanic in the fight against the Majima and Saejima and all of them. Because that's how you take them out. Because they go into their own beat 'em up mode, and you activate your own, and then you actually like fight each other, and they can actually hit you. actually pretty neat. You beat up Ebina, stop his plan. Kiryu resolves to take on the sins of the Yakuza for himself because he had a chance to make the Yakuza better when he was a chairman, but he didn't want the responsibility, so he got rid of it. He did not want to be a chairman. He regrets it because he has to see what happened because of it.
Rough.
You know? And then he breaks down crying about it, and then he collapses on Ebina, and
it's a very emotional
it's so
scene.
sad. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a very good game. I'm so happy I got to play through it. Now I have the DLC, which is called the Big Swell, which is basically just like you go on vacation. It's a premium adventure where you're in the post game, just doing whatever you want. Right? Everything, yeah. I just have to do that now. And then, if I really want 100% the game, I have to do New Game Plus like at least 2 times, where I do the higher difficulties. You unlock the higher because the higher difficulties are basically just like everything has higher stats and shit. So the game expects you to have beaten the game effectively. And as such, it only unlocks when you've beaten the game and have access to the stats you would need to beat them. But that's all I have left for that. I did everything. I did the whole story of the Sujimon, which is like you go up again, you basically free the Sujimon League from the shackles of fucking wealthy gambling bullshit where the gambling hall controls the winner and the loser, basically fixing the matches for their own pocket lining. You free them from that. They try to shoot like the professor and the current champion, and you basically beat the shit out of them with the Ichiban with your own fists. Here's my Sujimon. Instead of a Sujimon battle. It's like I don't need a Don't worry, we've already done the Sujimon battle. Now it's my fucking turn to throw down. That's basically how he throws it out.
Nice.
Like the Sujimon battling is over. Now it's time for a regular old fisticuffs fight. It's really good. And it's all touching in a weird kind of way. And a lot of the side stories do like go between like being touching and being goofy, and sometimes flip-flopping between the two. And I feel like I made this comparison before, but it's so much like Gintama.
Yeah. It feels
that
good.
Shit. Because have I ever shown you the MS Paint opening to Gintama?
You have not. I would love to see it. I do want to mention one more thing, though, that you didn't mention. And I'm going to talk through it the way I witnessed it and understood it, because post-credits in Infinite Wealth, you have a scene where Ichiban is just trying to get his feelings out to, what's her name? I don't know her name.
Psycho.
He's trying to confess his feelings to Psycho. And in typical Ichiban fashion, he is just so enthusiastic, but not very bright about it. He comes out wearing a whole t-shirt with it. With I love Psycho just printed right on it. She goes running. She goes running in the opposite direction.
Yeah, she's not running. She's like angrily strutting. She's got that strut that's like she's mad. I think that's like I think what's funny about their whole relationship is that like Psycho is legitimately pissed off at him, and she leaves him on red for a
whole year.
Like, fuck, man. But then it's like the way that their relationship works is just like he's just a dumbass, and he's so genuine though. So it's like she can't like cut him out forever. It's just like her whole drink link stuff happens with Kiryu, and it's basically just her having to deal with another weirdo trying to propose to her, and she fucking shuts him down. And then Kiryu takes note of that. It's like, but you didn't do that for Ichiban, so something's clearly got you hung up there. Ichiban is heart of gold, dumb of ass, and it's hard to really get rid of him. You can't rip the
innocence out of the guy. You gotta give it to him for that.
God.
She doesn't let him down too hard. She doesn't let him down at all, in fact. She really kind of accepts it right after that post-credits scene, up until the shirt. Then she's just mad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, God damn it. Such a dumbass. But yeah, that's just the whole funny thing about it all. Anyways, I have linked you the Gintama MS Paint opening, which was used as this is an official joke that they put into one episode.
Oh my gosh.
the joke, because they often make jokes about how the animation, how the budget of the show keeps like dipping.
Mangakas are really stressed if they have to resort to this.
Very funny though. It's like a lot of what makes Gintama so memorable, how absolutely dog shit hilarious it is at points about how stupid things is, and then it'll suddenly go into like, oh, here's a serious arc of like 3 or 4 episodes where shit happens, shit changes, shit is serious, things develop, and now we're back to the funny bullshit.
It's either filler or no filler.
And it's all good, if you ask me. It's all very funny.
Very neat. Yeah,
all very good, all very heartwarming.
This is animated. I'm not going to say it's well animated. Oh, there's the episode. It looks great. Anyway.
It is fucking, yeah. Gintama is basically the Like a Dragon Yakuza series as a whole. It's like you got your side stories where you deal with an adult baby guy, and then the side story then goes into having those adult baby guys help you fulfill the dying wish of a husband and wife. The wife is deathly sick and she's going to pass away, and you have to find a way to make it snow in Hawaii.
Fuck. I say fuck it. Like there's no way I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna like cook a side dish. Tatsu. Yeah, so I'm just gonna cook a meal like Tatsu, and that's how I'm gonna solve the snow problem. Somehow. White powder!
Every time he treats flour like it's cocaine.
Yep.
And every single time the characters are just like, it's so funny because like the characters can have their moments of like funny stuff, but usually they're like this straight man to his overwhelming Yakuza house husband side, and it's just like he'll start talking about white powder, and it's like, oh, he's doing that again. God damn it.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We are hosted on mask31.dev/the-Reddmasq-podcast. You can also find us on Pocket Casts and wherever great podcasts are found.